The colonel's voice cut through the morning air like a whip. "A woman can't do this," he said, his tone dripping with condescension. Laughter rippled through the group of seasoned soldiers gathered on the training grounds. A sound that should have felt triumphant, but instead stung her ears like cold steel. She clenched her fists, feeling the rough fabric of her gloves bite into her palms. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, heart pounding with a mix of fear, anger, and determination. Every eye was on her. Every whisper carried the weight of doubt. And yet, deep inside, a quiet voice told her she was ready. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening." The sun had just begun to pierce the horizon, spilling amber light across the dusty ground. Tiny motes of dirt danced in the beams, floating like suspended secrets. She stepped to the starting line, each footfall muted against the cold earth. Round her, the men shifted, impatient, confident, certain. She could feel the vibration of their skepticism pressing against her, like a storm waiting to break. Her throat tightened, not from fear, but from the pressure of proving herself in a world that still questioned whether she belonged. She inhaled, tasting the sharp tang of iron in the air, and forced herself to focus. One step, one breath, one movement at a time. Her mind flashed to the nights she had spent alone, running drills until her legs screamed and her lungs burned. Every obstacle, every grueling test had prepared her for this moment. But preparation could never quite silence the mocking echo of a voice that had never believed in her. She looked at the colonel, standing rigid, arms crossed, a smirk tugging at his lips. He thought this would be a humiliation. He had no idea he was about to witness something unforgettable. The whistle blew. She launched forward, muscles coiling and releasing in perfect rhythm. Dust erupted under her feet, curling like smoke around her ankles. The men surged beside her, powerful, confident, relentless. For a heartbeat, she feared they might pull ahead, their strides long and unyielding. But then she remembered the nights of pain, the silent promises she had whispered to herself in the dark. She thought of every time she had been told she couldn't, and let it fuel her. Each obstacle was a challenge, a question demanding an answer. The climbing wall loomed like a gray monolith, mocking her with its height. Hands gripping the rough surface, her fingers bled slightly, but she didn't falter. Every movement was precise, controlled, almost elegant in its strength. A whisper ran through the crowd as she cleared the wall ahead of two men who had underestimated her from the start. The colonel's smirk faltered for just a moment. The mud pit came next. Cold water sloshed around her boots, sucking at every step, threatening to slow her down. But she pushed, driving her legs through the resistance with a rhythm born from countless dawns spent training alone. Around her, murmurs grew into a crescendo of astonishment. She could feel the shift, the subtle realization that she was no ordinary competitor. She was something else entirely. Halfway through the race, a flash of doubt struck her. Could she maintain this pace? Her lungs screamed, her muscles ached, and the mocking words from earlier slithered back into her mind. But then, something remarkable happened. She glanced to the side, catching the gaze of a young recruit who had been silent all morning. His eyes widened, admiration flickering there. That small, unspoken acknowledgement anchored her. She would not just finish, she would win. The final stretch was chaos. Soldiers collided with obstacles, slipping and sliding in the mud. But she moved with a rhythm that was almost serene in its power. Her chest heaved, her vision blurred with sweat and dust, and yet she surged forward, propelled by sheer will. The finish line approached like a beacon. Every step, every labored breath, every ounce of strength coalesced into one final, unstoppable push. And then she crossed it. Silence fell for a heartbeat. Then the colonel's jaw dropped. Murmurs turned to applause, hesitant at first, then deafening. She had done it. It's not just completed the race, not just survived the challenge, but she had dominated it. Every skeptic, every doubter, every smirk was shattered by the undeniable truth. She was extraordinary. As she stood there, catching her breath, the crowd parting to let her through, she realized something profound. This was more than a victory. It was a declaration. Not of revenge, not of malice, but of perseverance, courage, and the quiet power of believing in oneself when no one else would. She looked at the colonel, who now seemed smaller somehow, diminished by his own arrogance. His words had failed to define her. She had defined herself. Later, in the quiet aftermath, she would reflect on what had happened. Not just the triumph, but the weight of the journey, the fear, the doubt. The moments where giving up had felt easier than pushing forward. And she understood that the true victory wasn't in the applause or the medals, but in the knowledge that she had faced her own limits and broken them. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. And in that early morning light, with dust still settling around her boots, she smiled quietly to herself. She had started the day mocked and doubted, and ended it as something greater than anyone could have imagined. Just as the horizon had risen to meet the sun, she had risen to meet her moment hand. Nothing could take that away. If this story inspired you, share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more tales of courage and resilience. And remember, true strength isn't given, it's earned. Step by step, breath by breath, in the moments no one else sees.